Okay, so this is Tian Tian. As I said, she's our female panda, and she's also 8 years old. So she's also a full adult panda. You may or may not be able to tell, but she's considerably smaller than the young one, male. And that is quite normal. Pandas tend to be between 20 and 30% larger than females. Although our Tian Tian is quite scary for a female. So young one weighs in at about 129 kilograms, and Tian Tian is around 96. But she's just covering all of her territory here, checking that there's no smells of any other pandas. As this is why they are kept separate. That's because pandas are naturally solitary animals, so they live on their own in the wild, and they vigorously defend their own territory. So both of these guys, since they've been here, have both been going out into their enclosures and using their scent glands to scent mark different parts of their enclosure. And they've got scent glands sort of around the bottom area and also behind their ears. So it does look quite funny when they're sort of scent marking with their heads. But as you can see in her enclosure here, there's some things to keep her amused. So there's plenty of trees for her to climb, and she does do that quite a lot. That's because bears do like to climb, and so pandas are no exception. In fact, she usually likes to sort of sit in the fork of that big tree, and she sort of leans back and just looks up at the sky and just watches the birds. So she looks quite philosophical when she's doing that. So both our pandas have got their own enclosures. Young one's is just next door. You can see through the grill at the back. That looks onto his enclosure, and that's where our two pandas have gone up to meet each other. So we do know of the other's existence, and they also can tell that by the smells as well, so they know there's another panda about. If we were to introduce these guys together at the moment, it would probably just end up in quite an unpleasant fight, which is why we literally have to wait until exactly the right time before we even try to do that. So the right time to put these two together will be when she comes into season. Now, female pandas only come into season between 2 to 4 days of the year, so it is actually a very small window of opportunity. And that can happen at any time between February and May. So it does mean that from now on, our keepers are going to be watching her very closely to see if they can identify the signs.
She could just stop for a minute, that'd be good.
Her sitting in her pond. Both our pandas have ponds in their enclosure. Bears do like to have access to water. Bears do like to swim. But in particular, if she sits in her pond more than usual, she is the baby, she may be coming into season. Also, if the two pandas go up to their grill and don't look like they want to sort of tear each other's eyes out, then that's a good sign as well. As well as if they go up into their trees and look over the walls to get a look at each other. And there's also a special bleat noise that they make. They make quite a strange high-pitched noise anyway, which you wouldn't sort of associate with a bear. But when she's coming into season and when they're sort of talking to each other in a kind of shall we get together kind of way, it's a particular bleed. Did you get her feet wet? She's very confused by the eyes.
Yeah. Okay, turn round.
Yes, hopefully when it's the right time we'll introduce these two and we may even end up with too. Has anyone got any idea of the sort of size you could be looking at for a panda cub? If you look at how big she is, what sort of size you'd expect it to be? Any clues from anyone? No, nobody got any ideas? Okay, baby pandas are extremely tiny when they are born. They don't actually develop that much in the mother's womb. So when they're born, they weigh about 100 grams. So that's about the size of the weight of a chocolate bar, which is absolutely tiny. And if you think of it, comparing it to human terms, that would be like us giving birth to a baby the size of a thumb. So I think
that'd be
I don't
easy.
think they have particularly long.
Yeah, that's easy.
I think it's all quite done and dusted quite quickly. But when that panda does come out, it is, you know, it's completely helpless. It's pink, it doesn't have any fur, and it's also completely blind. So what panda mothers tend to do, once that baby's been delivered, they scoop it up and they just stick it in their armpit. So it's a nice start to the world. But actually, when you think about it, it does make sense for two reasons. It's nice and warm in there, nice snuggled up in her fur, but also it then has access to its mother's milk. As I said, it's blind, so it can pretty much figure out where it is. So they've got warmth and they've got food on tap. And these cubs could stay sort of there pretty much for the first few weeks of their lives. Hang on, these are the parrots now. Shush.
Itai, look at babe. Itai.
So, you might wonder how are we prepared for this eventuality. They've thought about this when they've been planning, and it's out in the back of her enclosure there is a secret cubbing den. The idea is that when she's about to give birth, she'll want to take herself off somewhere quiet, dark and private. So hopefully she would go to this little den, have the baby there, and then what we would be able to do is, we would have a secret camera in there, unbeknownst to her, and we'll be able to just have a look and check that that cub's okay. If we wanted to actually do a check, a proper physical check, the idea is we'd stick some food outside here, so she would have to come out of the den to go and find food. She will need food to keep her strength up for herself and for her cub. And at that point, our keepers could quickly nip in and just check that the cub's okay. So these guys are actually on a research loan to us for 10 years. If she does have cubs, unfortunately the cub won't stay here for 10 years. Once that cub has reached the age where it's independent, which could be around sort of 2 years is about the average, we have to ask China where they would want that cub to go, because it would literally be property of China. So we just have to cross that bridge when we come to it.